Bloody hell. Sodding, blimey, shagging, knickers, bollocks. Oh, God. I'm English.
Welcome to the Nancy tribe.
You don't suppose you and I... We're not related, are we?
There is a ruggedly handsome resemblance.
And you do inspire a particular feeling of familiarity and disappointment. Older brother?
Father. Oh, God, how I must hate you.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 126 of Revisiting Sunnydale. I am Camila.
And I'm Marcella.
And we have a very, very, very special guest today with us. I would like to introduce jewelry designer extraordinaire, Peggi Li.
Hey there. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is awesome. Yes. Peggi reached out to us via Facebook because apparently, like, Peggi, she designed a lot of those beautiful, beautiful jewelry and accessories that some of the ladies from Buffy and a lot of other, we'll get into that, a lot of other television shows, but a lot of the jewelry that the ladies wear, like season 4, 5, and 6, right?
Correct.
And I am just in awe of it because, you know, how many times have we watched the show and been just like, oh, where can I get this necklace? Or like, what are all these, like, this is so, like, just admiring all of their wardrobe and the jewelry and accessories that go along with it. And now we get to talk to a woman who has designed and created a lot of the jewelry. So let's get into it. Like, first and foremost, Peggi, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Nice.
Excited to meet you ladies.
Yes, this is going to be great. I am looking forward to getting into conversation with you about when and where did you start designing jewelry?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Buffy literally changed my life, I can say. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. But I think jewelry started just making it for myself as a hobby, you know, maybe thought about selling it here and there because it's like an addiction. You want to feed your habit and like to get more supplies. You're like, man, I've made all this jewelry. Somehow it needs to start paying for itself.
Right.
But it didn't really get serious until I was living in Los Angeles. I was working as a writer and Buffy was one of my favorite TV shows at the time. And as a writer, I was like, okay, I want to meet people on the show. How do I do this? So I loved the fashion on the show. And I told myself I'm going to do an interview with a costume designer. And I got that interview and I hung out with her for a day while we went shopping for the show, which was super cool.
That is cool.
And, you know, that was great. And I had a great time. And then afterwards I was like, oh man, I've been making jewelry. Maybe I should, you know, see if the costume designer would check it out. So I literally just dropped pieces in the mail, wrote her a little note, said, hey, this is stuff I'm making. Just wanted you to check it out. Thanks so much. Didn't hear back from her for weeks. And then I get a phone call and it's like, hey, this is Cynthia Bergstrom, who is the costume designer. I gave your name to USA Today. I hope that's okay. So we're going to use your stuff on the next season of Buffy. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Sounds awesome. The reporter calls me and is like, I hear your stuff's going to be on the next season of Buffy. Where can people buy it? And I was, well, they can buy it on my website. Hung up the phone after that interview and turned to my coworkers and said, I have to build a website right now. I had nothing, had no idea. And that's literally how it all started.
That's amazing. Wow. Like you controlled that entire destiny, like for yourself. Like, and I love that. Like just the fact that, you know, you're just doing this for yourself and then you were a writer, you fan of Buffy, you're like, hey, I want to talk to the costume designer, talk to some people. I'm going to write a story about them. So you contact them and you do your thing and it's like, hey, I want my jewelry to be on the show. So I'm going to drop a couple pieces in the mail and then there it is.
It's amazing.
It's
the power of asking, right? What can they just say except, you know, maybe they say no. But if you don't ask.
Exactly. Because if they say no, you've lost nothing. But they say yes, then you get your pieces on Buffy and get like all sorts of free advertisement.
Yeah. and Cynthia was like, send anything and everything you have. And she was so cool and open. And I think at the time, it wasn't necessarily cool to have your products on TV. Like TV wasn't thought of as a place for, it wasn't a business, maybe more like it is now, where it's like you want to get your stuff placed on things. No, I don't think the atmosphere back then was like that. She literally would go to the local boutique and buy clothes for the show.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't, we went shopping, at the mall.
And what goes into, like, how much do you find out about an episode when you're creating a piece?
From show to show with Buffy, I didn't get any inside or preview information. For the interview I did with her, I did get to visit the set of the costume department, which was really, really fun, and sort of see the behind the scenes of what goes on in the costume department. Racks and racks of clothes,
Wow.
as you can imagine, right? So it's quite an orchestrated business because they don't necessarily shoot in order, scenes in order. So it's a lot of logistics and just keeping track of like what outfit goes where. So it was all really fascinating.
Now,
I did get to meet Sarah Michelle Gellar
Ooh.
and Anthony Head briefly, so briefly.
Right.
And I think my takeaway from that is always that Sarah Michelle Gellar is the tiniest human being.
I was just going to say, how small is she?
She is a perfect, beautiful, small human being.
Oh,
I just put her in your pocket.
yeah, a little pocket person.
Pretty much.
No, so Buffy was the first show that you got your pieces on, and it looks like since then, like you've just been like working nonstop. Like you've got all sorts of credits to your name here, like Arrow, Elementary, Vampire Diaries, The Bachelorette. Like it just goes on and on. Dead to Me, which I love that show. Riverdale, like it's amazing.
And it kind of goes with my own fandom. I mean, I approach shows that I love, right? On one hand, the jewelry needs to be a good fit. It needs to sort of, go with the style. But it's also the origins of my business was literally, I was chasing my fandom, right? I was like wanting to be a part of my fandom, and that sort of has carried on over the years. Also, costume designers move from show to show, and usually, if they like working with you, they'll call you up and be like, I'm on this show now, send some pieces over. So it's been a great relationship. And I think I had moved to LA wanting to be part of, entertainment and the Hollywood machine. And in my own way, I found a way to do it. I think originally I wanted to be a writer, but I found a sort of tangential way to be a part of it, which is cool.
Yeah, I would say this works. This is amazing. Do you have
definitely a how-to guide? I like it.
Yeah. So are there any pieces that are custom made that you've made custom for specific shows, or are they all just like, what you've made then?
No, I like different shows are different. Sometimes I've gotten very specific custom requests, like we need this style charm. Do you have something like that? Can you make it? Here's a sketch. I've done projects like that. I've also had requests where it's like, we just need something gold and pretty. Send us some examples and we'll choose something. An example that was really fun was for Pretty Little Liars. And the costume designer was like, I need some small, interesting looking earring selections. And it turned out to be like a clue in part of the mystery where they do a big clue, like she picks it up off the ground, floats up above it. And it was like, what? So that, moments like that are super fun.
Yeah, you must get like so jazzed to see that.
I mean, I remember when Buffy was airing and I could not believe, like, I'm like, from my hands onto my favorite characters. It's
like pointing at the TV. That's my necklace. That's why I did that.
Of course, the show's so dark. You're like, but, yeah. So it's definitely fun when you can collaborate more with the costume designers. And sometimes I'll get things like briefs where they'll say, "This is, send stuff for this character. Here's a brief. She's an attorney. She's in her 30s. She loves, this kind of music." And, they have these breakdowns of characters. And I love it when I can sort of just get that information and riff off of it and send pieces I think would go with that personality.
That's really, I like that a lot. So speaking of that and your inspiration in making, so outside of, the characters that you're creating for, like what is your process, your creative process generally, just before you even started doing all this?
Yeah, pretty haphazard. I think, I take inspiration from what's going on in fashion at the moment, trends. Usually it's the materials I get that inspire me. So I love unusual cuts and colors and shapes of stones. And I think I'm always looking for, color, contrast, and I love geometric shapes. I have a science background actually in my schooling. So, like nature and science are big inspirations as well. But I like to take things apart and put them back together. So I think initially as a hobby, you're like most people who start jewelry businesses, I think you see something in a store, you're like, man, I could make that. I can't afford it and I'm going to make it. Mm-hmm. And you find a way to get it done. And so I think that's what I do. I see things that I like and I'm like, okay, what's my twist on it? How can I put that together? How would I put that together? Right. With my skills and the materials that I can find.
That's very cool. And has any of the on-set stuff that you've done led to any off-camera work for any of the costume designers or the cast? Have they, ever come to you asking you to do personal stuff for them? Like, I want this necklace for me. Can you make me one just like it? Or
no, not really. I wish. I mean, I've definitely gotten some relationships with some actresses who yeah. Actually, I'll take that back. Yeah, it has led to, like, I've got this event and this one actress, she doesn't have pierced ears. And so she's like, I know you can make me some clip-ons. I've got this event. I need something a little fancy. Can you make something for me? I'll take it back. So yeah, it has led to off-camera stuff.
Good.
And has your operation, like, it just started off with just you? Is it still just you making the jewelry, or have you, like, expanded a little bit more?
Still just me. I've I think maybe I'm a terrible business person or something. I don't know. But it's still just me. It's a one-woman show, and it's sort of a labor of love, and I enjoy it.
Well, I mean, it's getting all that personal attention, that personal love goes into each piece. Then, so you know for a fact that they're going to turn out exactly the way that you intend them to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm Asian, and I was doing jewelry on the side for my day job, and it was like, man, do I take the leap? Do I take the leap and go into this job? I never, a business I never expected to have. It was never my goal to be a jewelry designer and have my own business. So it was so new, and I wasn't sure. I had no idea what I was doing. So it took a long time to sort of come to grips with this artistic side, and that I wanted to have this sort of independent business and let go of the day job, let go of the handcuffs there and go for it full time. But I am doing it full time now.
Wow, that's amazing. And how long have you been doing it full time now?
For about 7 years now.
Congratulations. And you said originally you started off with a science background, and then you shifted to wanting to be a writer, and then jewelry making is what found you, is what stuck.
Correct. And I was writing and doing marketing and PR for a long time while running the jewelry business. So yeah.
Where are you from originally? You said you moved to LA?
California.
Oh, okay.
No, I was I grew up in Santa Rosa, which is a small. It's a bigger city now, but it was a small town in Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I went to UC Berkeley for college, and then moved to LA with I got a film internship, and I moved to Los Angeles to do that.
Oh man!
So yeah, jack of all trades, master of none.
I would respectfully disagree on that. Like, I mean, this jewelry is absolutely beautiful, and some of the pieces were like some of my favorites that Buffy and company have worn, like the red ribbon cuff that she has in season 4. That it's always stuck in my head, like for years and years. Like I just want that cuff. Like that's so amazing. And
it's like I can't quit Buffy. Right? It's like over the years. Well, a lot of it at the time, I was making stuff using vintage materials. So I was sourcing stuff in like fabric stores and little shops around LA. And so they were once they were gone, they were gone. And of course, people wanted them, and it was impossible to recreate them. But the pieces I could recreate, I was like, people will lose interest eventually, right? Yeah, no.
Like Buffy just keeps going and going. Upon every generation, a new one is born.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I think the fandom's stronger than ever right now.
Yeah.
I think COVID times, pandemic, people are at home streaming stuff and digging deep.
Yes.
Going back to their favorites, and it's nice.
And even I saw on her social media, she was showing it to her kids for the first time and they were super into it. So it's something you can introduce to
And I think
new
for
generation.
the first time, Sarah Michelle Gellar is sort of talking about the show. I feel like she's been really, she put it behind her at some point, and
Yeah.
you never really heard from her about it. And I love that she's now sort of feels more comfortable to
Right.
talk about Buffy and acknowledge that part of her life, right?
Yes. So speaking of Buffy, why, one of the main reasons why we're here, we are wrapping up season 6 today. And, a lot of your jewelry did make a lot of splash appearances in season 6. And, one of them, another one that I really like is the double strand necklace that Willow is wearing in Normal Again. So usually season 6, the wrap ups episodes, we just kind of tool around. Marcel and I talk about some of our more favorite episodes and moments and whatnot. You said that you just finished your cram session of season 6 rewatch, which how long had it been since you've seen Buffy?
Oh my gosh. It's probably been a good since the original airing, probably, to be honest. I've watched, spot episodes here and there, but not in a back-to-back rewatch. I hadn't done that in a really long time.
So what was your first impression revisiting season 6 again, all in one chunk?
I mean, my memory of watching it live was that I hated season 6. It was sort of the one that was like, whew, can I keep going with Buffy? It was so rough.
So heavy.
When it was airing live and heavy. But rewatching it, I was like, dang, they really did a mini movie every week. I think with adult eyes, these issues resonate not just when you're a teen and when you have those teen questions about identity and making choices, but as an adult, you see them making these choices and you go, man, it would be really hard as an adult, but I loved it. My opinion of season 6 now is that it's one of my favorite seasons.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode of season 6 as a whole? Was there one that particularly stood out to you?
I mean, I think the obvious one everyone picks is Once More with Feeling. I'm a huge musical fan, so I the fact that they pulled that off before people were pulling off episodes like that is just incredible. And again, the production values all the way through, including special effects and things like that, is amazing. And just the idea that it's the one that reveals Buffy. Buffy reveals to the Scoobies that she was pulled out of heaven, I think is so, it really is a dramatic point, made even more dramatic with the musical structure around it. So
it gives me chills every time to think about it, to hear when it's like, oh my God, you guys, what did you do?
Right? Not only did you have to do a TV episode for this week, but you had to write music, block dance steps, write do choreography. You had all this other stuff to do. Kudos.
Yeah. So, and you were saying, a lot of the adult choices that have to be made. I think that was a big part of season 6 is okay, we're adults now. Now, how does this work? And it's just like Buffy being pulled out of heaven and brought back from the dead to be like, oh, hey, now you've got all these bills. Welcome to adulthood. You got a mortgage. You got leaky pipes. You've got all this to do. Now you have to get this menial job that you don't, because you apparently have no time or training for anything else. So now you have to work the Double Meat Palace. And so, it probably, and I think, I know Marcel and I were very much grown by the time Buffy started, at least by the time I started watching Buffy. So, but I kind of, to me, I was kind of I was watching Friends. That was right around the time I was just now getting into adulthood. So I kind of felt like my life paralleled kind of the same things that they were going through. So I can only imagine what folks were, who were right in the same boat with Buffy at these same points in times, the parallels that I'm sure were very important to kind of help. It's oh, I'm not so alone. It's not just me.
And you see that Buffy just learns as an adult. You figure it out. That's the biggest, that you figure it out.
Right.
It's going to be hard, but and it may suck, but you figure it out.
So when did your all's Buffy journey began? Like, when did you first encounter Buffy then?
Marcella, you were in it from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
A couple episodes into the first episode I saw was The Witch.
okay, and I came along like I think season 3 because I was like I hated the Buffy movie, so I was like I don't want any parts of this show. I don't know what that's going to be about. And so when I moved to Pittsburgh, Marcella was my first roommate, first friend, like first person I really met here, and so she was like already into it like 2 years in, and she's like, oh, you're gonna love it, and I'm like doubtful. And then she showed me the episode. The first episode she showed me was School Hard, where Spike is introduced, and that's when I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's go on
I
this
was like,
journey.
yeah, no. Watch this. And then tell me that you don't love it.
And so
And the second he stalked across that floor, it was like, sold. What else?
yes,
You've been taping them? Would you
Yes.
go back and yes.
yeah. So we were like, before they were even like selling the actual seasons, like Marcella was recording them all, and
I'm sitting there with dual VCRs, like timing commercials out. So
Oh yeah.
So it's been quite a journey, and like we've probably rewatched the series like 1,000 times over. You have your favorites that we come back to all the time and all that. I would imagine that I think now would be probably a good time to go ahead and get to our at least top 5 episodes of this season, Marcella.
yeah, I figured this season's just so long. There's so many episodes. People won't care past our top 5.
Right, but we will post on our website like the entire ranking.
Yeah, we'll post on the website the full breakdown. But otherwise, we'll be here for 10 hours if we're trying to rank 22 episodes.
Now it's always funny how these shift between like the two of us. All right, so my number 5 is Once More with Feeling.
And unfortunately for fans, that does not make my top 5 at all.
Which is surprising.
I know that's crazy. It's going to be controversial. But my top 5 is Smashed. My first top, like my number 5 is Smashed.
Which, a reminder for which one that was, just in case Marcelo.
It's when they smash. There's a lot of smashing going on.
Yes. Smashed is the episode where we all were brought into a different, it's like, oh, Buffy has crossed it. Oh, we've gone somewhere else. This is
like, how are they airing this in prime time for teens?
right. Exactly. Like it was just like normal time and the zippers and looks, and it was a lot.
So crazy.
Okay, so my number 4 is Wrecked, which is the day
Right
after.
before that.
It's right before that, which is, Spike when he's like really thinking that, okay, he's figured out what the problem is or with his chip and all that stuff, and he's switched out. And when we always talk about how when Spike is going through like something really important, his whole wardrobe changes. And so like this episode like he's got like gold chain bracelets and his like whole like he's wearing a tank top and he's got a necklace on. It's like, oh, you took some time and you went to some shopping. You
He was feeling good.
He was
He
really,
may have showered
Right.
somehow, somewhere.
yeah, exactly. Like his hair is like fresh and just it's like a little musty, little fresh gel.
My number 4 is Tabula Rasa.
Which
It's so good.
it's the one where everybody loses their memory thanks to Willow. And it's a great one. And we'll see where mine. And my number 3 is Smashed. When it comes
And my number 3 is Villains. So we do vary.
Yeah.
We vary. It's so funny how much we vary.
Except for this one, number 2, we both have Normal Again, which is the one where Buffy is, supposedly in the psychiatric ward, and which I still feel
It's a
like should have
game
been the
changer.
series. It should have been the series ended.
Right. It's a game changer. It's the St. Elsewhere episode. It could. We'll never know.
Right.
There's always going to be that hanging chat, I guess, of
Right.
could she still be locked up somewhere?
But ultimately, does it matter? She chose Sunnydale and her friends.
Exactly.
I love that. I love, Peggy an optimist, but I'm always just like every episode after that one, I'm just like, she could very well still just be in this insane asylum.
Should just be sitting in a corner drooling. Who know? I mean, but it would explain sleeping with Spike.
But I mean, it's just, I feel like it is a real masterful way of writing for television, and that you're right. Like, it doesn't really matter one way or the other, but I love the fact that we've got that question mark like there for the rest of it. And it's like, well done, well played. Mm-hmm. And my number one is Tabula Rasa, because I love television shows where you've known and grown like with characters for so long, and then these characters get an opportunity to act outside of their character on the show. And it's just, and then, the whole Spike and Giles thinking that they're related, and that whole dynamic cracks me up every
classic
time.
Body switch without having to switch bodies.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not time travel. It's not mirror universes.
Yeah, exactly. And
well within the universe, which is cool.
Yeah. And, because time travel, that really, that grates my cheese.
My number one was Grave. And it's because it gave us, not only did it bring Giles back to us, but it gave us, there are very few times over the course of the series where I have been stoked to see a fight. Buffy and Faith. Always you're like, yes, I can't wait for this. This gave us Buffy against Willow. And it was everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
And also, it's also just like, you want to see them fight just to see how it turns out, but it's also like, come on, guys, you guys, you're besties.
You're friends, you're family. Don't fight. But go ahead, get her one more time. Remember that time she did that thing where you didn't, and you. So those are our top five.
And Giles gets his magic on too, which is useful, Giles.
Dude, I don't know where you stand on the lustful factor where Giles is concerned, Peggy, but I mean that the shot of Giles of entering at in the doorway, I'd like to test that theory, and it's everything. It's like, oh my, hello Giles, hello sir, with his fancy tweed trench coat.
It's a great entrance. I don't know. Is there any background story about why he was not on the show for a few episodes? Was he like doing theater, or was it totally planned? I don't know.
I haven't.
If I remember correctly, he wanted to spend more time. He had young kids at the time. Like his children were younger, and he wanted to spend more time. He was tired of being
transcontinental
in London and in LA, if I remember correctly.
That makes sense. And I mean, it worked out well, like perfect timing for storyline wise. Cause as he sang in Once More with Feeling, it's, he was the one that's kind of holding her back to to reaching her full potential as an adult.
From figuring it out.
Right. Figure it out, Buffy. You can write a check. You know how this works.
Well, and the sad part of it overall, it wasn't his place to do it. She has a father.
Yeah, that's right. Don't even get
in quotes. Who we never see
again, especially after her mother died, which just makes no sense to me whatsoever to this day. Okay, so did you have a favorite character on Buffy, Peggy?
Favorite character? Buffy. And I think, again, watching it in binge mode is, I think, the way to go. It's not, I don't like watching an episode here or there because you have to get in. I feel like you got to get into the rhythms of how they talk.
Right.
It's a definite thing. And I think if you sort of piecemeal Buffy, you're like, Buffy especially, like the way she speaks, you're like, man, I don't get it. But after consuming episode after episode, you get into that rhythm, and it's like, yeah, I love you, Buffy.
Now, do you?
She's just trying to make it work.
Yes. Now, do you prefer to ingest, like now in 2021, do you prefer your television shows in binge mode, or are there shows that you are still like, oh, week to week, I'm still excited to like come back?
I'm fine with the appointment television, and I think it's because I grew up with it, so I'm
Right.
not used to waiting for the next week and going, why isn't there a teaser for next week's episode? Come on, people. But I do appreciate the binge because now you can have it on something on in the background and
Right.
absorb it sort of that way while you're doing other things. So I'll take it any way I can get it.
Now, I'll,
Pretty much.
no. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say for your guys' top 5, you guys love some emotional drama.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Double Meat Palace isn't. I actually really liked Double Meat Palace.
It is a good one. It comes in at 14 for me. But
Yeah, it would be
I'm
kind of
interested
middle
in
of
the
the
roast out. Yeah, middle of
Yeah.
the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm an X-Files fan, and I was really impressed with like the horror element. I thought was great, and it really is just a huge metaphor for menial service jobs. Or what a job literally sucks the life out of you.
yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the image of that old lady's head it haunts me. Like on the, like just the thing coming out of that the back of her. Ugh.
Yeah. And also, like, I feel like it's kind of because I've had this too where like, sure, Buffy, there was something more important that she needed to be doing. Like there was a monster that she needed to kill. But like, I have felt having like those jobs that are really not what I want to be doing, trying to find some sort of meaning or importance in it. Like, okay, like this is like, I need to be the one to fold these sweaters. Cause otherwise otherwise you're just dying inside. So.
And I appreciate that they kept it up over the course of the season too. And they make a point of, Dawn's like, I cannot eat this stuff anymore. But it shows that she didn't quit. She kept going back to this really crappy job that she hated.
Poor thing.
But I mean, Dawn's like 15, 16. Yeah,
She was old enough
She's
to
old enough to work at Double Meat Palace too.
Yeah, or at least a summer job. Like she could have been babysitting or something. I mean,
Scooping ice cream,
I'm just
making
saying.
pizzas.
Yeah, even we're not even gonna talk about Willow not pitching in. But yeah, so
Yeah. Did she work at the Magic Box or not? She
I
did.
don't think so. No, she was just hanging out.
She didn't pay rent either.
stealing
She's
stuff.
living in her house. You have a house. Your parents live like
Right.
probably across town.
So outside of Buffy, Peggy, do you have what is your fandom? Like, what is your obsession at the moment?
These days,
Yeah.
at the moment, Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yes.
Mandalorian, really good. Virgin River. Can't wait for another season of Virgin River. So my tastes are obviously all over the map. I don't know if you guys have seen.
No.
It's good. If you like soapy romance, small town, mischief, it's a good one.
Okay.
What else? I love You. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that is so
Oh,
good.
I am so into that. I hope.
Can't wait for it to come back.
Yes, I really hope that there's going to be a third season.
There is.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
it's happening. Yeah. There'll be
Excellent.
third season. Dead to Me.
Yes.
Obsessed. So good. And I love Riverdale.
I have
Maybe-
not gotten into that.
I haven't either.
There's something wrong with me, but I love Riverdale.
I'm surprised, Marcella.
I
It
just
seems like
finished
something.
Sabrina.
It seems like something you would like, Marcella. Like I thought. For
I know,
sure.
and I just finished the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, so I think I'm kind of waiting for Riverdale to end because it's had a time jump, or it's about to go into a time jump,
Mm.
and sometimes that doesn't always work out. So I think
Lost.
I'll wait. Well, One Tree Hill. It's sometimes it's weird. So I'm gonna wait and see,
hmm
and then I'll try and
I-
binge it all at once.
I approve of the time jump. I think it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, since they do look like grown ass adults, it makes sense that they've given them adult roles now. Well, hard to be still playing a teenager. Well, Bianca Lawson is still
Yeah, bless her
playing
soul.
teenager somehow.
Well, she's really good on Queen Sugar. I don't know if either one of you have checked that out, but
I have not.
ooh, Bianca is really like she's playing a full adult. She has a child and everything.
Okay. Because she was still playing a teenager on Pretty Little Liars. I
Yeah,
believe.
but this is a level of acting I have never seen from her before. And, I'm glad that she's finally gotten a role on a show that has let her really explore adult problems for the screen and to just get emotional and to pull like one of the episodes that I cried the hardest was her. She had like this whole speech and everything, and I'm just like bawling, like, oh my God. Like she's amazing and everything about. I highly recommend Queen Sugar. It's an amazing show. Ava DuVernay created it. And she's created this Jobs where every episode is directed by a woman. And
nice.
the show is about this family in New Orleans, I believe, and they've got a farm and they're trying to keep it, and all these dynamics that go on in between that, and the woman, I can't ever remember her name, who played Tara on True Blood, she is on here, and again, like she has like. We get to see another side of acting for her, which just a whole nother role, which is much more regal than what she was playing on True Blood. And it's just.
What network is it? Is it all like
it's on
Oprah's
OWN?
network?
Yeah.
I'm like, I know there's a reason I can't watch it.
So anywho,
I don't have that. I don't have that
Let me
network.
step off my platform for that. And we're just going to let you go now, Peggy. We're going to thank you so much for hanging out with us. And where can people find you and all the things that you do and buy your jewelries?
Because they can buy some of the some of the Buffy Revival. You have a Buffy Revival line.
That's right. So you can find me at my website, which is PeggiLi.com, PEGGYLI.com. And I'm over on Instagram at PLC Peggy.
Love it.
All right. Thank you so much. And yes, friends of the show, go to the website and go purchase some of this jewelry because it is gorgeous. And there's a couple of pieces that I'll probably be going and getting myself as I'm tooling around here. Yes. Okay. So again, thank you so much, Peggy. You have been a delight and we look forward to talking to you again.
This was a blast, Marcella and Camila. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, so that was Peggi Li. And once again, thank you to her for taking the time out to chat with us today about our common obsession or fandom of Buffy and season 6. And I highly suggest you go and purchase some of her jewelries on her website because the stuff is bomb.
Yes, it really is. There's a couple of things I kind of really like.
I know.
Keep an eye out
to
our Facebook page because you may see some more stuff from Peggy in the future. Who knows?
Yes. So now that we have talked about our top 5s of the episodes for the season 6, best character arc, I think we're both in agreement here. Willow.
Yep. It's Willow. Our little old baby Willow.
Baby Willow, all grossed up, all drugged out and whatnot. Like, I mean, we know it's a metaphor, magics, drugs, but it's actually
same.
It's same.
It's same.
And it's, the port, like she really touched on it when she went over the deep edge, when she talked about after Tara died, when she talked about why Tara was so special to her and that the fact that Tara made her feel seen and important.
Those moments.
Yeah.
Just those moments. And it's the way she says moments.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you every time.
Right. And
she still has it, by the way.
She still has.
Oh, Allie Hannigan. Still has
the chops to make you cry?
Still got the chops. I watched that damn Flora and Ulysses over the weekend.
What is that?
It's a damn movie about a squirrel. But Allison cries. And I was like, look at me sitting on this damn couch crying about a squirrel.
Is that the superhero squirrel?
Yes, it's a superhero squirrel.
I didn't know Allison was in that.
Yes, she's the mother. She's now a mom and things.
Oh.
Let that sink in for a second.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, man.
I think Ben Shapiro is the dad.
Okay.
Which also for him,
yeah.
Ouch. I guess your parents now?
Yeah. Man, oh man. So yes, okay, so Allie still has the chops.
She still got the chops.
To make you weep upon.
Because I mean, even think about at the end when she has a complete redemption arc this season. Starts out the season in kind of savior mode, brings Buffy back to life against her will. Well, she had no will to be against, but I'm pretty sure if she had a say, she would have said no.
Right. Exactly.
I'm tired. I'm so tired of saving you all every season. I just want to sleep.
It's like, can I please
give Dawn to Hank? I'm done. I'm done. And then she, has to go through this. I'm kind of the most powerful thing around. I can do whatever I want.
Right. And she loses Tara twice in this season. So yeah,
and it's because Tara's like, no, you can't do whatever you want. You can't just make party decorations because we could have gone to the store.
Like the dollar store is like literally 2 blocks away. Like this is not a big deal.
And I mean, I think her big first offense, her really big offense, comes when she mutes everyone at the bronze.
Yeah, right.
And mentions that she could just shift everyone that's not a teenage girl into another dimension.
Exactly. And not hearing Tara when she's like, that's not right. You can't do that. You are messing with people's lives that have nothing to do with what we're trying to do. Like, this is selfish and it's lazy. Like, stop it. This is not.
I mean, for a quick second, let's take that thought to conclusion. You move all these people into a different dimension. Mm-hmm. Dawn's not there. So you got to bring them all back. But now you have to worry about forgetting spells.
Right.
If you're not going to do forgetting spells, how are you going to explain to these people that they were momentarily in another dimension? And what was that dimension like? The dimension of shrimp?
Right.
Or hell demons?
Exactly. Like did somebody get eaten in that moment that they're in this dimension? And then, so you're right. So she didn't think a lot of things through. She was going through a lot of immediate gratification. And yeah, so we see Willow just go through this entire growth, this range of growth, decline, growth. And then, she had to deal with, Willow had to go through a lot. Like, I know, Buffy, I'm not trying to take it away from you that you got brought back from the dead. You got pulled from heaven, back on the job. And, with bills and whatnot, but Willow went through a lot, and obviously that what Willow was going through is something a little more relatable for the rest of us, for us mere mortals on this earth.
Well, it's because everyone supports Buffy.
Right.
No matter what happens, everyone is always there to help Buffy. Help Buffy do this, support. Willow pretty much deals with everything on her own.
Right.
No one even finds out that Tara's dead until halfway through that episode.
Right.
She does it all alone. Her family doesn't care.
Right. Yeah. We don't hear boo about her parents.
No.
Since season 3, maybe. Right. I don't.
Since maybe the witch episodes. Last time we saw her mother.
Right. Willow has to bear a lot of the burden of her own life on her own, and I think that's true with all of them that aren't Buffy, really, because even Buffy made a mention of how she didn't see or refused to see Willow going through everything. Like, she felt like she could have stopped her sooner if she had just paid attention, and
she wasn't too busy with her own stupid life.
Yeah. So Willow gets the best overall arc for the season. And the best burn, I agree, goes to Spike.
There is no other burn that can be. I looked at every single one we had from this season, and nothing even compares to the very first episode in Bargaining with Spike saying, "Oh, poor Watcher. Life flashed before your eyes. Cup of tea, almost got shagged. Cup of tea."
What's so fucked up is that it's so accurate. Like,
it's so perfect
because I could just Giles has got to had to have taken that to real heart, just come on now, I've been shagged more than once
in this year,
right?
I might add.
Sir, have you not met my friend Olivia like that?
I mean, there were some quips here, but no. That's the winner.
That is the big winner. Song of the season, Bush, Out of This World from Dead Things, which perfect usage of Bush. I mean, it was brought to my attention the other day as I was Googling Bush that, because Gavin Rossdale's Bush is not the one that usually comes up.
Right?
right away these days.
Take your life in your hands, putting that into a Google search.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm
Oh,
just,
hi. Oh, Jesus. Wow.
I mean, if it's not like George Bush or one of those folks, like it's something really a little bit, something that you probably weren't really looking for.
No.
And it makes me think, just like, was Bush like really a good band, or were we just like in love with Gavin? Because
Well, I still love this song.
yeah.
But do I love this song because I love this song, or do I love this song because of the way Spike stalks around the scene during
Right.
this song?
Exactly. You don't know. Like, I'll give it to you. Like, 16 Stone is a great album. And to me, though, like, each album where Bush is concerned, like, it kind of declines a little bit. Like, I go from, like, the first album to loving the whole thing to, like, the most recent albums. Like, maybe I'll listen to this one song. But,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we both met and saw them live
Right.
in the same evening.
Mm.
And I kept going, yes, I love this song. I don't know this one. Yes, I love this song. Oh, no, I don't know this one.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. This is just a question I was just a pondering, just wondering, because, sometimes when you get our age and, so many generations are behind you and you're just like, you don't. Like, we're now like at our parents' age when they would be like, oh, such and such band. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right? Like, stop telling me about that.
So,
oh my God.
So runner up, we'll go with Sarah McLachlan, Prayer of St. Francis, beautiful song that I do still listen to on a regular basis, because Sarah, she's puppet master of your emotions. Like,
I mean, whoever's idea it was to put her damn song with a bunch of pound dogs. Gold.
yeah.
Take all my money. Just take it. Just take it all. I have 3 bedrooms. I can take all those dogs.
Like, I would like to foster 17 dogs, please.
In the arms of this angel. Okay. Give me all those dogs.
I will remember you.
And
Anytime.
like, was the advertising person like, well, what about, because who else was out around that time?
Oh, there was. I don't know. For a minute, it was the woman from All in the Family, I think, was like doing.
Yes, Sally Struthers.
Yeah, Sally Struthers.
No, let's put Sarah McLachlan over.
Right.
It'll just
And then
fuck
Sarah,
up everybody's emotions.
and then Sarah started to like appear in the commercials. So
with
anytime,
a cute little dog.
yeah, those, I have to turn the channel immediately when those things come on. Like, oh no, you don't.
That's like my Instagram feed when a dodo video pops up. I'm like, oh, why does this dog have a bucket stuck on its head? I don't want to watch this video. And then I sit there and watch it because I have to know why this dog has a bucket stuck on its head.
Bodies dropped this season.
75.
Whoa.
There were 75, and that doesn't even factor in the number of horned demons that Spike fought and killed, getting his soul back. Remember, there were just a bunch of heads on the ground?
Yeah.
I'm not counting up all those heads.
75. That's a big number.
That is a big number for one season of a show. That's a lot of, and that includes a couple robots and, but that also includes a couple very real human deaths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tara being the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget about Warren's girlfriend.
Katrina.
Not forget about Katrina.
Right.
That's some fucked up shit right there.
She deserves justice. So
Right.
Yes.
Like, Kaltenbach got killed by a vampire for being a creepy toy peddler. Like, sure, that old man didn't deserve to die, but he was probably going to stab a kid.
More than likely. I'm sure he has eaten 1 or 2 children.
Right.
At some
We
point.
didn't see his basement. We don't know what was down there.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, his whole story, like, I used to make toys for children. No, I don't like your approach. I don't like your approach.
But Katrina, not only did she have to live through his weird robot, she finally thought she'd washed her hands of this man, but to randomly come across him in a bar.
Right. Yeah. That's both. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of a trivia here.
Yeah, I figured from all the trivia we've had from this season, the one that kind of stood out the most to me was that this is the only Buffy season finale that was not written by Joss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only season in which only one episode was written and directed by him. Once More with Feeling.
Wow.
He was very hands off this season.
Yeah.
I guess.
If you can call it that.
Say that.
So the moral of this season.
Family isn't always blood. It's the friends that you make that become family. Don't forget them, and don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Aw, I like that.
No.
That's perfect. That does.
Thanks.
That says a lot. So the elephant in the room, and I know this episode, I don't know, it's probably a couple weeks behind or whatever, but whatnot. But so Joss punk ass Whedon has revealed himself, or
He's canceled.
he's as most of you know, I'm sure Charisma Carpenter has come out and has come out to tell the story of her abuse that she suffered from by the hands of Joss Whedon, being just this
We've heard
asshole.
rumors for years.
Yeah, exactly. But it's him being basically this asshole on a power trip and being misogynistic and abusive, verbally, emotionally, mentally, to his stars, to these women who are making him who are making him look good. Because dude, you didn't do all this on your own. Sure, you create the show, but you still have these actors who are still saying your words and who people are lobbing onto and who people are identifying with, and they are the star. They are the ones who are making you.
Yeah.
And also people with this in light, a lot of Buffy fans are just like, oh, how can I ever watch it again? All this kind of stuff. And
here's where I stand on it. And this is, people may hate me. Guess what? I don't care. This is my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
Right.
I have to separate myself from the work and the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy is not just Joss Whedon.
Right.
There are a lot of people that work on that show.
Exactly.
There are a lot of people that put their hard energy and time into creating that show. He didn't write every single episode. He didn't shoot every single scene. It's the same thing I feel with J.K. Rowling. I'm not going to stop watching and loving Harry Potter because she's an asshole. That's her issue. It has nothing to do with Harry Potter. Just like that's his issue for being an asshole. And I hope he's canceled and we don't keep propping him up as a god. But I'm not going to stop watching Buffy. I'm not going to stop loving Buffy.
Right. Because, first of all, for me personally, he's already gotten whatever little money that I was going to spend anyway. I already own the DVDs. I already own all the shit that Joss was getting a piece of. So me not watching it is not going to take money out of his pocket. But I will stop propping him up as some sort of god.
Nerd god.
Yeah, exactly. Who is, the sole creator of, everything that is all good. Fuck all that noise. This dude... he was just this punk ass fanboy who has a talent for creating worlds, and yes, so he has that. But again, as Marcella, as you were saying, he wasn't only him. He wasn't the only one pulling all this together. He couldn't pull all this off on his own, and also people trying to force co-stars to speak out about everything that's being said. One of the things that I saw, and particularly the male co-stars, one of the things that I saw from Tom Lenk, and I do appreciate this, is that he said he's been keeping quiet about it because it's not his fucking platform. It's not his story. Right, exactly. It's not like he's trying to protect anybody. He's trying to give the women who have the experience the room to speak. Mm-hmm. They are the ones, it's their story, it's their trauma. He's not here to steal air out of the room from them. So I appreciate that. And you just can't force everybody to be talking about stuff like this that happened 25 years ago. It's, Charisma came to her own terms when she decided when and where and how she was going to do it. She's been holding on to this forever. And for whatever reason, she decided now is a good time.
Been through enough.
I know.
From this,
right. And then also, whatever happened with Michelle.
That alone makes me want to put hands on people.
Yes. So she's 14 years old, and there's a rule So there's something happened. There was an incident that created a rule that Joss was no longer allowed to be left alone with her.
Why wasn't he fired? Why?
Right.
Why did her parents keep bringing her to the damn show?
Right.
Why?
There's not that much money in the fucking world. It's not that much fame in the world. Like, you're gonna let your child keep doing this? Like, that's like, no. The creator of the fucking show, and he's not allowed. He can't be left alone with your child. That is not a good place. That is not a good lesson. Okay. It's not a good environment, and it's just, God.
And for those that like it didn't happen, like the co-stars it didn't happen to, I'm fully fine with you just saying I support you, and that's it.
Yeah, the whole dancing around, be like, well, my relationship.
I didn't ask you about that.
No.
Like, I kind of wish Anthony hadn't said anything at all.
Yeah, that came off. You know, I wish that somebody had told me, or I'm hurt that nobody.
How did I not see it?
Yeah, I'm hurt that nobody felt comfortable enough to come to me and talk. Like, maybe just the standard. I support you and your efforts, and you know, like that. We didn't.
Because now you're just opening yourself up to more questions and more scrutiny, and you don't want that.
Right.
We don't want that.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot. So, you know, stand where you want to stand on the issue, gentle listener.
What bothers me most about all of it is the timeline. It bothers me that his ex-wife wrote a full expose in 2017 outlining what a piece of garbage he was. But it took until Ray Fisher complained about the treatment on Justice League, which I'm surprised that it even...
Right.
Considering he's a black man, I'm surprised anyone listened at all.
Exactly.
But why did it take a man?
Yeah, for people to be like, hey, let's take a look at this.
An asshole?
Right. Let's take a look. What's going on? Yeah, you're right. Like his
wife told us in 2017. We've heard the rumors about Cordelia's storyline and the firing for years before that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who's hushing this shit up? That's who's responsible in all of this.
Right.
That's who I'm mad at.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on a limb and say that there was probably some sort of like NDA signed by a lot of the cast and crew that lasted for years, and it's probably just now expired.
Yeah. It's just...
I would just really like somebody to beat his ass for whatever happened with Michelle.
Yeah. With Michelle in particular, you know, I was reading some of the comments on the podcast, and you guys are so nice. A lot of you have been so lovely. You left us some really nice comments. But there was one in particular, we talked about it before, that called us the We Hate James podcast. And I thought, that's weird. We never do that. But when you put not being allowed to be in a room with her, and then you add in that nasty ass song that James wrote about her.
Yep.
I'm skeeved out.
I'm completely skeeved out about whatever her experience was on this show. Oh,
I feel bad. I feel real bad. On a happy note, season 6 is kind of a banger. It is. It's dark, but to wrap everything up, I do think it's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. I think a lot of the game was upped a little bit as far as creatively and storytelling and how everything was going down, like episodes and arcs and acting and special effects and lighting. It's like everything.
Season 7 hadn't been such. Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. Season 6 would have been nice too. It's one of those, like, is it better to fade out or to burn out or fade away? And
that's the sad thing about Buffy when you look at it on a whole is after season 5, every season we're like, should they have just ended last season?
Right.
Well, no, they gave us season 6. Should they have ended right after season 6?
I kind of feel like we didn't need. Okay, I guess they had to tie up some. Just at least it was a proper send off. I'll say for the show with season 7
until you get to the comics.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. In other news, we are on Patreon now. Still making some tweaks and whatnot, but we have some things. Just if you're not familiar with what Patreon is a lovely website for creators that helps us get a little bit of cash to kind of help keeping this creative process go, because even though it doesn't cost a lot, it's still monies that we have to pay for hosting and websites and things like that. And it would be nice if, you guys, if you could help support. If you can, great. If you can't, also just keep listening and sharing. That's if you can't monetarily give anything, we still love you. You're still the best because you're listening. And just so you can support us in other ways, like I said, like liking things and subscribing on to the podcast and sharing with your friends and telling people about us. That's always very helpful. So if you go to Patreon, patreon.com, and look up Revisiting Sunnydale Podcast, you will find our page, and you can see all of the perks that we're trying to offer. Again, still tweaking some stuff, but I believe we start off with a $5 support tier, and anything helps. And we'll be making subscriber only special posts and content and things like that. We're still working the kinks out because we're not really ones to ask for stuff. But
I know. I know. It's like being in high school, standing outside of a grocery store.
Right.
I have some change, sir. I would like a sody pop. But all the cool kids are on Patreon and Discord. I am so old. I hate Discord.
I haven't even tried to look at it. You told me that it was much like Reddit, and I was like, no, thank you.
I don't like it. It keeps pinging on my computer. I don't like it.
I'm so old. Get it away. All right, y'all. So next episode, we're starting season 7. Yay! And
Yay.
It's cool. It'll be fun. It's the last season. What are we gonna do?
At least it's not. Wait. But is it Gnarl? Or is that no? That's the second episode,
that's
right?
The second one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
We don't like Gnarl.
Nope. But it must be done. Okay, so again, check us out on Patreon. We are on Twitter at Back to Sunnydale. We're on Facebook, Revisiting Sunnydale. We are the podcast. You can rate and subscribe and on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. And you just go to the website and find out all the stuff and where we are, revisitingsunnydale.com. And thanks for listening. As always, this has been quite the ride.
Yes, it has.
You can follow me. Thanks again to Peggi Li for joining us. And thank you. You can follow me, Camila, on Twitter at @the_rugged angel.
Or me, Marcella at msphere7338.
All right. We will see you in season 7.